This is a movie about Bramble the Boonie Bear, who merges with a mysterious alien object and gains superpowers. When an alien invader heads to the forest to retrieve it, it's up to Bramble to save his home and friends. The movie begins with Bramble, the protagonist of the movie, daydreaming about being a superhero, loved by all his friends. He snaps back to reality and being the clumsy bear he is, knocks over all the recycling bins. His brother Briar comes to his rescue, and he is already Vic's favorite since he always gets the job done. They are all going on with their lives in Mountain Ridge when suddenly one day, Bramble notices an explosion somewhere in the forest and comes across a mysterious object that falls from the sky near him. As he tries to investigate the metal object, it opens up to reveal a magical core that fuses with Bramble's brain. Astounded by his newly acquired intelligence and brain strength, Bramble runs away to inform his friends. As it turns out, the mysterious core belonged to an alien invader named Ari, a cat-like alien, who was being chased by the humans, and as his space jet almost crashed, the core flew from his jet and landed in front of Bramble. The core is actually a nucleus that Ari needs to fly his space jet, and he sets out to find Bramble. He finds Bramble at Vic's house, ready to eat the ice cream Vic promised him in return for his chores. Ari captures Bramble, but he manages to get away to seek help from Briar and Vic. When they return to Vic's house, they are surprised to see a cute little kitty instead of the monster Bramble told them about. They blame Bramble for the mess, and Ari spins up scenarios that make him look bad, forcing him to help Ari so his spaceship can work again. Ari befriends everyone and keeps messing up things for Bramble. One day, when the rest of the crew leaves to visit the city, Bramble and Ari come face to face. Suddenly, a fleet of jets and drones emerges from the sky. Having located the invader Ari, they are hell-bent on capturing the alien. Bramble runs away while Ari transforms into his alien self and fights back. Despite being outnumbered, Ari manages to subdue them all and even saves Bramble in the process. Bramble is shaken because of all the unwanted attention his home has been getting the past few days, but Ari persuades him into helping him, reminding him that he will be able to live his dream of being a superhero when he saves his friends. Reluctantly, Bramble finally agrees to help Ari. Ari asks Bramble to locate his cube-shaped spaceship using the core fused in his brain, but all Bramble can think about is ice cream cake. He focuses and locates the spaceship that is being taken away by two men in their car. Ari and Bramble follow the men and they enter the premises of Pine Tree Mountain. Bramble warns Ari that humans are dangerous and they dress up in disguise to get to the car harboring Ari's stolen spaceship. But their cover gets blown and Ari is exposed. The forces line up to capture Ari, whose alien suit has lost its power, so he has to resort to plain old fighting. Bramble notices that Ari is being outnumbered, so he saves him and hides in an alley, losing the guards. Ari and Bramble follow the spaceship as it is taken into a junkyard. They trick the men and make their way into the spaceship, where Ari asks Bramble to charge the ship so he can get back to her planet. Bramble focuses and enters a realm with 1,000,000 boxes, and when he is confused about which one to pick, Ari guides him to the one they need to get the spaceship flying. Just as soon as he is about to grab the box, he is zoned out of the realm because the thieves have noticed them and are about to crush the spaceship. Ari steps out of the spaceship to fight the guys while Bramble tries with all his might to get the spaceship flying. Just as Ari is about to fall into the crusher, Bramble figures out the box and flies the cube spaceship. They get to the Pine Tree Mountain City where they last saw Bramble's friends. Worried that someone might come for the ship again, Ari stays behind while an excited Bramble makes his way to his friends with a pre-recorded hologram message by Ari revealing the truth about him and redeeming Bramble. Just as he is within earshot, he overhears the friends badmouthing Bramble, blaming Briar for covering up for him as he goes on with his clumsy carefree ways, causing nothing but trouble. Briar agrees that he needs to deal with Bramble with a firm hand now. This crushes Bramble, who was so excited to finally have his friends see this new version of him and like him. Disappointed, he decides to return to the rooftop where Ari's ship was landed, without saying a word to his brother and friends. When Ari finds him crying, he feels sorry for Bramble, who tries to do his best, but keeps messing up. Bramble tells Ari that the explanation did not go as planned since his friends have a strong opinion of him. They share a snack that Ari initially dislikes, and just as they are about to get back to the ship, suddenly the guards along with their boss enter the building. Not knowing who they are, Ari and Bramble dash to the ship and escape just in time before the guards can capture them. As they fly away, suddenly Bramble sees a vision where other metal cubes like this one are being held captive and there is a strange purple necklace. As it turns out, they run into a giant flying ship that has all the metal cubes and the necklace that Bramble just saw. As it turns out, these are the missing pieces of Ari's ship and Bramble uses his intelligence to free them. As he reassembles Ari's ship, he notices Ari running inside the ship and asks him to keep an eye out for his ship. Hordes of guards come to attack Ari, but they are no match for his alien powers as he suits up and subdues all the guards. Ari reaches the hall where the purple necklace is stowed away, and just when he is about to reach it, a lady attacks him with a firefly bot that dampens Ari's power. Suddenly, the evil boss from before enters the ship and Ari learns that this couple is the one that has been trying to take him down all along. As it happens, Mr. and Mrs. Cruz are some big-shot arms dealers and they are after the Quasar, which has been hidden by the Ryodan race, which is the same as Ari's predecessors. Back in the day, the Ryodan race inhabited the planet Earth, but when they drained it, they left to find life on a new planet. Ari is worried that Quasar cannot be controlled, but Mrs. Cruz makes him a deal that she will only return the necklace she stole from his ship if he gives them the Quasar. Ari and Mr. Cruz break into a fight and Mrs. Cruz unleashes her firefly bots on Ari. Just as the couple is about to overpower Ari, Bramble enters the hallway in the cube spaceship. He tricks Mr. and Mrs. Cruz with his clumsy flying but actually manages to escape from the ship, with Ari having secured the necklace. Upon Ari's instructions, Bramble flies the ship to the South Pole, but they are followed by Mr. and Mrs. Cruz. Ari drops the necklace that falls off the ship into a deserted factory and all of them head in its direction to retrieve it. Mrs. Cruz unleashes her fireflies on Bramble and the ship that causes massive explosions in the factory, but using his super intelligence, Bramble is able to retrieve the necklace. Mr. Cruz tries to hit Bramble but again, he is ankled to save himself with his new powers. He achieves auto-synchronization and the flying cube transforms into a bear-like flying ship. When Mr. Cruz attacks him again, he sends him hurling through the factory ruins and leaves for the South Pole. Ari is surprised and taken aback since not everyone has the ability to achieve auto-synchronization with the spaceships. Suddenly, they notice the Grand Golden Ship behind them launches multiple rockets at them as an act of revenge for hurting Mr. Cruz. Bramble flies the spaceship away and on Ari's suggestion, he heads out into space, causing the rockets to lose altitude and fall crashing back to planet Earth, right into the junkyard of those money-hungry thieves who stole Ari's ship earlier. Ari and Bramble take a break on the moon as they marvel at the view of Earth from up here. Ari reveals that he and his people, the Ryodans, used to live on planet Earth, and when their civilization found Ryodium, they became power-hungry and it ended in the destruction of the planet Earth. With war, natural disasters, and no future on Earth, the Ryodans escaped on massive ships to look for another planet to call home, but a tragedy struck and they were sucked into a black hole. Ari was one of the few who barely escaped. Bramble hugs Ari and promises to help him find his parents. They head toward the South Pole. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Cruz are going broke as investors are drawing away from them. Mrs. Cruz wants a Quasar so they can have all the power in the world. They have Briar, Vic, and the friends kidnapped and they trick them into believing that Bramble has been kidnapped by the seemingly innocent kitty. They coax them into teaming up on finding their bear friend, which is actually a ruse as they just want to get their hands on the Quasar. Next, we see Ari and Bramble come across a giant wall of ice. Ari uses the necklace which reassembles as a key to unlock the passage toward the hidden city of the Ryodans, the place where they ran to after the Earth. It is protected by a shield that has been working for the last million years so the Ryodan civilization can be preserved. Ari gets emotional as he shows Bramble around, revisiting the memories from his past. Suddenly, something blasts off the shield and it crashes down, compromising the security of the hidden city. As it turns out, Mr. and Mrs. Cruz had been following them and now that they have found the hidden city, nothing can stop them from acquiring the Quasar. They attack with their entire high-tech army and make their way toward the tomb harboring the Quasar. Ari and Bramble chase them and Ari reveals the dangers of Quasar, but Bramble is distracted when he notices Briar. He heads off into a clearing where Briar, Vic, and his friends are seemingly trying to rescue him from the ship, but when he reveals he is the one controlling the ship, everyone learns the truth and they rush to aid Ari. However, it is too late since the villains have captured Ari. Despite being warned that Quasar won't rest until all life is gone, Mrs. Cruz does not pay heed to Ari's warning as she has been dreaming of this day since forever when she will have ultimate control over the entire world. Ari asks Bramble to shut down the Quasar using his core since only the strong-willed can control the Quasar. However, the evil misses. Cruz activates the Quasar and loses all self-control, ruining the entire city. When Bramble sees his friends and Briar stuck in the ruins, he blames himself for being the reason for this mess. Briar reminds him he is the kindest soul he has ever come across, and pushes him to be his best self. Finding the courage inside of him, Bramble reunites with the cube and rescues his buddies. Next, he attacks the Quasar and tries to subdue it with his special Boonie Bear maneuvers. However, the Quasar is too strong, and just when it is about to crush Bramble, Briar, and the team fire at the giant robot to distract him. Mr. Cruz also attacks with all his units so he can save his wife from the Quasar, and when Bramble sees his window of opportunity, he is able to defeat and shut down the Quasar. Everyone reunites happily and Bramble gets to live his dream of being a superhero. This is where the movie ends.